So today we're going to talk about what it means to be opposite. So if I have the number 5, to catch up, I guess, what would be considered the opposite of 5? Well, when we're looking at this, we want to sort of look at a number line and figure out, so 0 is usually close to the middle, and we want to figure out exactly where on this number line 5 is. Well, if we count, and this is 0, I'm going to make that a little bit larger. So then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5. The opposite of this number 5 is a number that is the same distance from 0, only on the other side of 0. So we would have, so this is 5, this line right here is 5 units from 0 on the other side. And what we say is this is the opposite symbol, opposite of 5, which is negative 5. They're the same thing. So in relationship to distance from 0. So what if we had negative 5? And I said that this symbol right here means opposite. So if we wanted to take the opposite of negative 5, we would have two negatives here. And this is the opposite of negative 5, which we talked about. The opposite of negative 5 over here would be 5 units from 0 on the other side. So this would be positive 5. So 5 and negative 5 are opposites of each other. Now, what about if we think about like the air versus underground? So this is kind of like taking the same number line and turning it sideways, where the ground represents the 0. So ground is the same as 0. So if if I have a tree and the top of that tree is 25 feet, and we say that the roots go down the same amount, so we're going to have roots down here going down. Well, how deep do the roots go? Well, they go the same distance, so they also go 25, but the opposite of positive 25 has to have that opposite symbol in front, which means in this case would be negative 25. So those are opposite of each other. So if we've got, and when I talk about the ground, it can be water or dirt or whatever. So if we've got a scuba diver, and art is not my specialty, swimming down here, and the lowest part of his body is down here at negative 40 because he's below ground or below the surface level. And I make that number line. What would be considered the opposite, or how far would he have to swim to get up to the surface? So if he's down at negative 40, to get up to 0, he would have to go up, positive, 40. So starting at negative 40 below ground in the water, swimming up 40 to get back to the water surface. Let's talk about a similar one where we're above ground. So again, we've got our ground here. And this time we've got a drone that's being flown around, and this drone is pretty high. Let's say that this drone is at 150 feet. If whoever's controlling it loses connection to the drone, because you know it's done through remote control, and it falls to the ground, how far is it going to fall if it loses control and all of a sudden it falls straight to the ground? How far is that going to be? Well, if it was 150 feet in the air, then it would fall 150 feet as well. And since this was up, this is going to be down. So it's going to fall at negative 150. Going down is negative, going up is positive. Just the same as on here, this is positive and this is negative. Now, these two symbols right here, they look like parentheses that are straight. They're straight lines that go up and down, almost like walls in a room. And they're called absolute value, and they mean the distance from zero. So if I put the 5 in there that we've been talking about, and I've got 0 here, and I have 5 over here, this distance right here is the absolute value. So in this case, the absolute value of 5 is 5. Now there's another number that has the same distance from 0, and that's over here at negative 5. And so from negative 5 to 0 is also 5. And so when I take the absolute value of negative 5, I get the same answer of 5. So using this, so whether it's positive 5 or negative 5 inside the absolute value bars, we still had the same answer of 5. So if I've got the absolute value of some unknown number x, and I know that the answer is 7, distance from 0 is 7, what numbers could x be? Well, we could take the absolute value of 7, would give us 7 units, and we could also have negative 7 would be 7. So distance always needs to be a positive number. So if I have the same situation up here and I say absolute value of x equals negative 2, well, remember this answer here to an absolute value question is the distance. And to have a negative distance, that's not possible. So in this case, you would say that there's no solution. There's no number x. There's no number x that I could put in here between the absolute value bars and get negative 2 as an answer. It just won't happen. So go ahead and work on section 1, practice problems. I think that there's about, maybe 12 to 15 questions or so. And be sure to email me if you come across any questions as you're working through those.